This video is going to introduce you to some of the features and adjustments of our new table saw. So the table saw that I used in our previous video is not what we currently have. We've improved what we have. There's more horsepower, smoother features, all of which I will introduce to you now. So let's start with the basics. When you're making up your cut, this fence is awesome. It's got a special coating that is very low friction. It's smooth like butter. Now, as you're using this fence, if you're cutting to the right of the blade comes out of there. You will notice these markings, these like a ruler, and this viewfinder. It's like a little glass lens that shows you that we are currently, let's see. All right. So that's now 5 inches from the fence to the blade. Okay, this is nicely calibrated. Once again, you can't always trust these measurements perfectly. It's always best to start off with a line that you measured out and then double check with this. Secondly, let's say I want to cut from the left side. So if I want to cut with my workpiece to the left of the blade, you will see a different viewfinder. This is only going to be used if you're cutting to the left of the blade. Do not start, if you're to the left side of the blade, use the left ruler. If you're the right side of the blade, you use the right ruler. Okay, that's one. Same idea to lock it, push down. Okay, the outfeed table. That's where all the wood goes out to. That's right here. It's this black mesh metal thing. Just goes straight over. And it's got these rollers at the end that you'll see when you see it in person, and it just guides the wood as you're making your cut. This table is an extra wide table saw table. It's very nice. Plenty of space to work with. You can cut like a 4-foot sheet of plywood. I mean, you'd have no problem fitting it on. And with the outfeed table, you'd do a decent job. I feel like you'd have to get crafty. And by crafty, I mean have a table set up to hold anything big or have a partner. But we aren't doing that here. Okay, so adjustments. Let's continue. So the blade can be raised and lowered using this wheel. Now there's a knob on top of this wheel, and this knob, when you tighten it, locks the wheel in place. I don't lock it commonly. I usually only lock this if it's like the angle, which I'll get to. But if you shouldn't mess with it, then you lock it. But if you're going to be changing it, then I've never seen a purpose to locking it. Now, as I spin the wheel, you will see the blade rise. It rises. As you spin it counterclockwise, it lowers, but I'm going to need it raised. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing, let me set it up out here, that you can do to adjust this. I'll show you where the wheel is that I'm about to turn. But there's another wheel that will allow you to change the miter, the angle. If you needed a beveled edge, you can cut that edge, and this is probably why you can cut from the other side. You can angle the blade and make a rip cut that's actually mitered along the edge of a plank. So let me show you where that is. Woo! All right, here's that front knob and wheel that we were looking at. And to the right-hand side, this is the one that adjusts the miter. In addition to that, you'll notice this red arrow. And you have a gauge. This is telling you what kind of angle you are working with. So right now, it's set at a 20-degree angle. And that's what a 20-degree angle looks like. So those are good to know. But I also want to introduce you to one safety feature that I highly recommend you only ever use a table saw with. And that is called a riving knife. Wow, said it wrong. Riving knife. So it's not sharp, but it's this little shark fin looking thing. And the purpose of this, there we go, as I'm making a cut, okay, So I start cutting it. It's going to split that wood, and it keeps cutting. It keeps cutting. This blade is, I call, it's not sharp once again, but this blade, this knife, is meant to maintain that distance past the cut. So it prevents this piece from this, extra, whatever the cutoff, from turning into this rotating blade. That's very good. So this is a great safety feature. I'm pretty sure like every saw has a riving knife that you can buy with it. I highly recommend that if you ever own a table saw, you use one of these because it's simplistic. It doesn't block your view, which I find to be a problem with other safety features, safety apparatuses. So yeah, that's what it has. All the same rules apply as any other table saw. You want to apply your force down into the fence and through the cut. You want to make sure that the piece of wood is completely flush or flat to the fence. If it isn't, that incurs extra danger. And we don't like that. Anyway, that's it. I lied. That's not it. So, any of the extra adapters or pieces go to the right down near the floor. It's got a little plastic stand that can hold that stuff. And then as you're making your cuts, you can connect this to a dust collection system, like a vacuum cleaner, basically. But we got this bucket, and this bucket catches all the dust. It actually does collect a lot of the dust, reduces the clutter and the mess. It's not perfect, but it's something.